The Lord says, during the 40 years that I led you through the wilderness, your clothes did not wear out, nor did the sandals on your feet. Deuteronomy 29:5. Mary's music is just perfect because among many images, I got a lot of water in that, a lot of water. And it's always fascinated me that Moses, the quintessential figure of Jewish faith, the miracles he performs and the places he takes his people, he doesn't get to the promised land. He doesn't. He dies outside of it. And it's always seemed to me, well, why? How is that possible? Why don't you get to see the fruits of your labors? And to discover how we got there, let's do a little bit of reading here. This is the last, a few selected versions of the very last chapter of Deuteronomy. There are 5 books in the Moses Pentateuch, the book of Moses. And this is the last book, Deuteronomy, and the last chapter. And in fact, very shortly, I will read you the last words. And Moses went up from the plains of Moab to the mountain of Nebo, to the hilltop, which is opposite Jericho. And the Lord showed him all the land of Gilead and as far as Dan, and the south and the plains of the valley of Jericho, and the city and the palm trees as far as Zohar. And the Lord said to him, this is the land which I swore to Abraham, to Isaac, and Jacob, saying, I will give it to your descendants. I have permitted you to see it with your eyes, but you shall not go over to it. So Moses, the servant of the Lord, died there in the land of Moab, according to the word of the Lord. And they still, to this day, do not know where the sepulchre is. And there arose not a prophet since in Israel like Moses, whom the Lord knew face to face, in all the signs and the wonders which the Lord sent him to do in the land of Egypt, and to Pharaoh and all his servants, into all his land. And in all that mighty power, and in all the great signs which Moses wrought in the sight of all Israel. That's quite a culmination of a career there. And of course, we as metaphysicians know that is not just the person at all. That is a state of human consciousness. As we like to say, everyone in the Bible is us as well. And we will revisit it as we evolve as a people. I almost see it as like a cycle of DNA. We come back, but when we come back again, it's slightly further along. It's almost like this twisting stairway that, yes, goes upward. It fulfills. It's not circular, but yet we do come back in time to these moments. Our clothes did not wear out, nor the sandals on our feet. I think what we see here is that after the emancipation of the Jewish people and how they got to wandering around was that after they crossed the Red Sea, or as many scholars say, it was actually a word similar, the Reed Sea, R-E-E-D, so therefore a little bit easier to cross, I can imagine. And that after that, Moses sent 12 spies to go visit Canaanite territory, and the 12 scouts, perhaps a better word, they go to look at the promised land, and they see it hugely fortified. It's got towers and castles, and they go, oh, I don't think so. And they turn around and they go back. Even though God decreed that they should be successful and all of God's assurances, they reneged on that step. And from that, it says that they were, quote, punished for 40 years of wandering in the desert. Now, let's think about that more as a state of consciousness. It was 40 years so that the older state of mind that knew the Egyptian mindset and just escaping was going to pass on. It was also collective. He doesn't ban one person or 10 of the 12 scouts. He bans the whole tribe, the whole consciousness. And it is so human to me. And that's the part I love the most. It's not really the chastisement that the Lord brings. It's that even when we know God, when we see God, when we talk to a bush, when water comes out of a rock, when a staff turns to a snake, it's not that we don't believe that there is God. It's that we just fear, we shrink back a little bit. It's almost overwhelming. So for 40 years, we wander because of trust. So here's a congregation, as Reverend Nancy pointed out a few years ago. We are more or less around our 40th birthday as well. Now, I won't say we were exactly wandering around in the desert, but I myself have been here 30 plus years, and I do sense that we had a series of trust issues. Could we make it when Reverend Brown retired? Could we deal with different pastors, different presidents, the passing of a president? Can we get through the pandemic? Yes, yes, yes. During that 40 years, I led you through the wilderness. Your clothes did not wear out, nor the sandals on your feet. So it means we are supported. Reverend Nancy also mentioned the other week, we are healthy. We have funds, we have 3 properties all paid off. We have a solid board, a steady congregation, a pastoral committee to share the ministerial tasks. We have turned 40, which numerically is a 4, which to me always means foundation. Solid, rock solid, a great basement. That's really what we got here. Now, collectively, we are at the River Jordan. It's time to cross. One of the reasons I want to have a town hall after the service today is to see, what do we see over there on the other side of the river? What is that like? I also appreciate that view between the end of the Pentateuch, the end of the book of Moses, and the rest of the Old Testament is paper thin. It's right here, the flip of a page. You go from sight of Israel, whoop, we're into Joshua, just like that. There's a picture of the real Jordan River in your bulletins today on the front cover. You'll notice a couple of things. It looks identical on both sides. That always, you go, well, where's the milk and honey on the other side? All I see are the same shrubs. Yes, it's going to initially feel like that. So that means to me that any crossing as a congregation, as an individual, is going to feel the same. So therefore, it's symbolic. It's a spiritual crossing. It's an intent to cross. And to me, it doesn't matter if it's that sliver of the Jordan or the raging part of the Jordan, whether it separates and the armies pass or whether it's wet and you get muddy. It's the intent to cross because you are spiritually ready. And I am flabbergasted in a way to feel that we are ready. We're ready for the next step. I hope you feel that in your own personal lives, a place that you say, I am ready. I am ready to cross my internal Jordan River as well. In the Bible, it's relatively simple. They wait for 3 days. The opening reading that we just had together, they carry the covenant across. That's it. And so it's the preparation, it's the 40 years in advance that carry all the tension. When you get to the river, you go, oh, that silly old thing, off I go. But you have to be at a different state of consciousness by that point. I think when I look at how this particular religion of ours has evolved, we have seen that spiritualism itself has evolved. We no longer need rapping on walls or floating mediums. It's almost as if the communication with the other side is just a given to us. It's just the way life is. You feel spirit, you sense spirit. Some may see, hear, smell spirit. So we are no longer needing those physical proofs. And oddly, I'm not saying this is literal, but it does say that the part that passes on, the part that does not cross into the promised land, is all the signs and wonders which Moses was shown. So we don't even need the rocks to break into water, or the bushes to burn, or the seas to part. We did as a consciousness previously as a people, and now we don't. Yeah. Maybe sometimes, doesn't matter. We are of an elevated consciousness. Or as I like to say, it is the sea of consciousness in AMC. Awareness, mindfulness, consciousness. So it's not just a cute little phrase based on the letters. It's a mirror of our consciousness. So I think we are ready. I think we are indeed ready. So what is promised to us after this razor thin piece of paper? Let's take a peek. It's a bit lengthy, but I'll just read some highlights here. Moses, my servant, is dead. Now therefore arise, cross this Jordan, you and all these people, into the land which I am giving to them, even to the children of Israel. Every place that the sole of your feet shall tread upon, it shall be yours, as I promised Moses. Be strong and of good courage, for you shall cause this people to inherit the land which I swore to their fathers to give them. Only be strong and courageous, so that you may observe the laws which Moses, my servant, has commanded you. And finally, meditate upon these laws. Pass through the camp. Command your people, saying, prepare yourselves provision for this journey. For within 3 days, you are to cross this Jordan, to go in to possess the land which the Lord your God gives you. So we are no longer in the state of Moses. Moses is dead. Long live Joshua. As you look at the river before you as a people, as a family, in your own lives, as a community, as a nation, let us go forth.